Well, welcome to week 2, day 1 for the sub 22-minute 5k training program. My name's Rory Whitby and welcome to Aspiring Runners. In this episode, or at least this part of the episode, on day 1 we've got to go through a 5k. It's an easy pace, so somewhere between 5:30 and 6-minute kilometres. In fact, I'm not even going to worry about it. Yesterday I did the so-called long run. I was planning on trying to get to 12 kilometres, but I had to bail out after about 8k. The knee just started niggling too much. I think the feedback in the body was it was very tight in the hips, very tight in the legs, and the knee in particular, where I've had the injury, has just been causing issues. So one of the things I've tried overnight is certainly looking at the RICE method, the rest, ice, compression and elevation. I did take some ibuprofen just to see if that would help. And certainly seems to have taken the edge off, but with the compression, wearing a knee support all day has actually been useful. But I still feel that running with one, you can't then feel how the body's responding, at least not a true representation of it. And I think it's important through this injury that you've got to feel exactly how your body is moving, how your running form is, and how your running gait looks. You know, where are you hitting the sole in your strides? You do feel that is the injured knee coming across yourself because there's a weak imbalance. You need to know exactly what's going on, get some decent feedback from the system, and then respond accordingly. Thank you. And it is tough. It is tough. It's one of the frustrating things about this type of injury, because it's somewhat delocalized and can vary somewhat in and around the area. Yesterday it felt like it was the bottom of the quads on the left hand side. This morning it actually felt like it was on the top part of the shin bone. Now it feels as though it's just on the top part of the patella. And again, for me, just nonsensical. How can it move around so much? It's not a specific injury that you can then sort out. I don't get it. Frustrating. But is that why recovery has taken such a long time? Because the mind is just so fed up with the rehab. It doesn't feel like anything's working. That you end up doing something silly, which I've tried not to do, but not easy. So that's the 5k done for week 2, day 1. I'm not even going to bother looking at the watch. There's no point. Doesn't matter about the time. Doesn't matter about any effort, because there shouldn't have been. This is really just a see what happens kind of run, and completed it. It's okay. I think the right hip feels a little bit stiff, but it's manageable. I'll stretch that out as soon as I get to home base. And the right knee, again, it doesn't feel too problematic at the moment, which is wonderful. Tomorrow's going to be quite a challenge, I think, and just seeing how the whole system reacts to it. Was it 10 by 400 meters at race pace or just underneath? Potentially 60 seconds or 90 seconds rest. I'll double check that before I head out. And it's just on with the program. See how we go. So now we've got to week 2, day 2. Really excited by today's session. We're looking at 10 by 400 meters with a short rest in between. I think it was 60 seconds, but I'll let the workout that's already programmed into my Garmin guide me on it. Today feeling okay. Yeah, it was a pretty tiring day at work. A little bit too hot in the workshop. And now just feeling the effects of the wind that's kicking up, so I think that's going to help in one direction and be absolutely rubbish in the other direction, but we'll push the system as far as we can go. Just done the warm-up, now we've got to get on with a gentle jog up to the start line and see how we progress. 1:31. It was 3:49 average pace. Oh, good to finish off with a sprint uphill with a bit of wind, headwind. System just not used to it, but it's all good fun. So there we have it, week 2, day 2, and very successful. It's really good, and just a better cool down, and then on to tomorrow. Should be a gentle 5k. Need to figure out what the weather's doing, what to go by road or by train. But yeah, hopefully you'll join me tomorrow.
Today's week 2, day 3, and it's going to be a gentle 5k run in the woods. So let's see how we get on.
So this is week 2, day 4. Today we're looking at 10 hill repeats. That would be 200 meters, I wouldn't say sprinting, but yeah, 200 meters, quick pace, and then a jog return to the finish. So I think I've got 60 seconds in which to get back, 75 seconds to get back to the start point, and then turn around, go again. Do love the challenge of hill sprint repeats, especially with trying to maintain a gentle jog afterwards to get back before I have to go again, but it is challenging. Today, just feeling quite washed out, not sure why, just not feeling particularly 100% with it, just a long day at work, lots to do, lots of mental pressures as well. Now I've just got to somehow keep it all together and try and focus on this session. Now today with the hills, there were a couple of options that I could have used for hills. This particular one is probably one of the challenging ones. So it's looking at an average of 8% gradient over the 200 meters, or it's just over 200 meters. And the steepest part of it goes up to about 17% gradient. So as I say, that it can be quite a challenge, and that is the final push right at the end. I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up as we go through the runs, but yeah, let's find out afterwards. So stay tuned. Stretch out. I did actually warm up and stretch out, but it's just not feeling it. It just feels everything's tight, everything aches, everything wants to click. Just can't seem to loosen up enough. Just feels everything's slow and ponderous. Right, let's see how far we get. So 10 by 1 minute uphill, 75 seconds return, and then start again. Go. steep gradient kicking in. Fit me. Right, back to the beginning. So first one, never a real problem. Hopefully a nice gentle jog. Get back to the start line. Go again. By third or fourth repetition, get to the big steep section and the body feels cooked. It's getting shorter. Crikey. No rest. No rest. This is not a workout for resting. I love the benefits of hill repetitions. The hill repeats work on my system in such a way that the next day I feel like the body's woken up from the exertions of the hill repeats. I can actually get better performance. Now, it's kind of bizarre because I feel drained, feel tired, but tomorrow I may still feel tired and drained. But if I put myself to the test, try to hammer it a bit, probably could run a reasonable 5k. I don't want to do it. It's not time to try and run close to a 22-minute. That I hope is in a couple of weeks' time, depending on the performance next week. It still may be too soon after 4 weeks, but we shall see how it goes.
Well, it's day 6, week 2 of the 5k training program, and today we're going from X-Seat to Birling Gap, which incorporates the beautiful Seven Sisters. They're short, they're punchy, but absolutely beautiful in the sun. So let's go and have a look and see what's happening.
the end of day 6, 5k. Not too easy, though it should have been a gentler pace. But the weather's just become so beautiful. The wind is still high, so I'm sorry about any problems with sound quality. The knee started off yesterday on the rest day absolutely terrible. It was tight, painful. Really worried about today's run. I'm trying to hammer the Seven Sisters, and they are short but very steep hills, but survived it, which is great. I'm just surprised at how many people are actually about, but it's just emerging from lockdown. We've got a bit more freedom, and on a beautiful day like today, why wouldn't you try and get out? But just looking at the queues for the toilets, just pan around, you can see it. It's just insane. Not my cup of tea, but waiting in line for hours. Well, I've made it to day 7, week 2, and it has been a very tiring week. And the last few days, the knee has been playing up a little bit. Just a bit of achingness all around. Not too painful, but just very tight. And it's actually made things really quite tricky to certainly get into a rhythm of running, and become very apprehensive then about today's run, which is supposed to be a long, slow run. The slow pace is absolutely fine. I think the issue that we've got is going to be the distance, and I had tried to do 12k last week, had to call it off by a kilometre. Today the sun is out, it's beautiful weather, but I just don't feel in my mind or even in my body that I'll be able to survive more than about 10k. So I'm leaving it open. I don't want to pressure myself too much, just to see how far we can get and try to enjoy it as well. So hopefully I'll catch up with you on the run. All right, just gone through the 2k mark. I thought I'd get some feedback. The knee actually hasn't caused any issue so far, but it's early doors. I think what I'm noticing is that in the running stride, it's actually points in the hip that seem to cause a bit of pain sporadically. And again, they may all be interlinked to patellofemoral pain syndrome. What causes something starting up higher in the body and then affects the running gait and everything else lower down. So it's just to try to keep a smooth running action as possible, and try not to dwell on it too much, just being aware of it, and just really focusing on other things like cadence, probably the pelvic tilt, just trying to keep that smooth running form as best as possible. So just coming up to 13 kilometers, and actually the system feels good. I think having a knee strap has probably helped, but equally I've gone for a selfie stick, not trying to hold whole stabilization unit for the entire duration. May have also helped. Running hands free, just hold up the stick, put it away, makes things a whole lot easier on the run. But equally, I keep saying that, sorry. I think also yesterday's run was over the Seven Sisters, and that is quite brutal. I didn't try to push it hard, I just tried to keep the tempo going, even in the steep sections. And I think somehow that helps, just kind of unclogs the system, burns off the lethargy, and somehow makes the next day easier to bear. I found that with hill reps and then going into a 5k the next day. So I think if I try the PB, I'll have to put some hills in. Well, probably not the day before, but a couple of days before, just try and take the edge off, or see if I can push on to 14k. Well, survived it, but I don't know whether to count it as a success or a failure. So I did the 14k, which is what I'd hoped to do, and all in all, it went pretty well. It was smooth, not too painful. I can feel it aching now, but thankfully it's in both knees and not just one side. Running with the knee support has obviously helped a little bit, whether it's psychologically or physiologically, I don't know, but I need to spend next week's running sessions without the knee support just to see how it fares and try and do the rehab as often as possible. Now why I say is it a success or a failure, because I did push it during it. The first couple of K was a bit slow and ponderous, but it was downhill towards the seafront, and then as soon as you hit the seafront, it's quite a few kilometres of nice flat running. So I kind of pushed it, I was thinking it was just under 51 minutes for the 10k, which for 2020 actually isn't too bad at all, considering I really have struggled with it. I have to look at the whole pace, but from the seafront it's all back uphill. But yeah, I just managed to keep a smooth rhythm going throughout. So I probably should have stuck to a particular pace which should have been slow, which is around 5:30 minute kilometers. For me, that is slow and doable. I think I ended up doing maybe 5:08, 5:09 minute kilometers throughout the whole run. So I failed on keeping myself under control. But all in all, the week was tough. It was hard work. With everything else, I just found myself utterly exhausted. And sometimes I do nap once during the day, certainly at the weekends. But today, just even with a walk, a couple of kilometers walk with family, had my head down for half an hour, got up, got some drinks, and then put my head down again. So just a couple of naps during the day, whether that just took the edge off as well, I don't know, but just finding there's an awful lot of lethargy in the system. The weather is playing around a little bit, that is tough as well, but you know, we're used to these things. Just trying to keep hydrated, stay out the wind, just see what we can do. But all in all, really good week. So thanks for watching, and I hope you found some useful tips in there. It'd be great to get your feedback on how your training program's going. So please write in the comments below. Let me know how you're getting on. What challenges are you facing right now in your training program? You know, what distance are you running for? What PBs or PRs are you gunning for? Yeah, it'd just be great to link up and find out how you're doing. Hopefully we can inspire each other, push each other on to our next aspiring goals. Well, so long, take care, catch you next time on Aspiring Runners.